Yo, what's going on, man? This is your boy, Super Warrior. You are in the Yo with your boy, man. Today, what we're going to talk about is my favorite MultiFX plugins, part one. Today, what we're going to be checking out is AMPlify. AMPlify is kind of like this, I don't want to say it's a lo-fi type of plugin. I think that lo-fi term is being used loosely a lot, but it definitely will give you dirty vibes on your sound source, whether it be vocals, melodic loops, especially drums or whatnot. This is more of a drum specific plugin, and I think it does a really good job on drums, but you can also use it on melodic loops and melodic sounds as well. Let's talk about that for a second. This particular plugin, AMPlify, as you can see, we have it up and able to live already, can be used on melodic instruments. Now, you have three different sections with this particular instrument. You have the transient section, you have the drive section, and you have the bit crushing. The transient is basically going to be a transient design type of component on this particular plugin. However, the drive section is kind of like a two-in-one, if you ask me. It's more of a saturation and distortion kind of blend in together, whatnot, to give you that flavor, that saturation flavor that you're looking for. And the bit crusher section, which is on the right hand side, is to give you more of that old sound, something that sounds outdated, something that sounds a little crushed, something that sounds a little computerized. That's what the bit crushing section does for your particular sound source. And when you mix all three of these together on your particular sound source, you will get a interesting vibe and also flavor out of your sound. Okay, so what we're going to demonstrate today is using AMPlify on a melodic loop. Okay, so I have a melodic loop open, but however, I'm only going to use two components out of this compressor on the melodic loop: the drive and the bit crush. I'm not going to use the transients because the transients just basically not going to do anything on a melodic loop, but we will use it on drums here in a few seconds. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and play what we have on our melodic loop so far without the plugin engaged. Here we go. All right, cool deal. So that is the sound right there that we have. But let's go ahead and turn on the drive section and turn on the plugin right here as well. All right, and what we're going to do now is we're going to start creeping in some drive saturation and distortion and turning up the asymmetry and the energy parameters here. And we'll talk about those here in a few. All right, here we go. All right, cool deal. So you can see how the three parameters work together. The drive being the main juice of the saturation and distortion, but when you turn the asymmetry and the energy parameters together, you get a blend of different type of saturation and distortion mixed in together, and you can really get some good flavor out of that right there. Some real good dirty vibes, and really kind of dirty up your sound source as well. Now we're going to go ahead and keep those parameters where they're at, but we're going to turn the drive section off, and we're going to go ahead and reset these down to 0, and we're going to try out the bit crushing component of this plugin to see how that sounds. Okay, cool deal. So that's the bit crushing section right there. Now I have tried a lot of bit crushing plugins or whatnot, and they do a really pretty good job. But this one kind of is on the weak side. It's more of just kind of adding some type of noise in there and not really doing the bit crushing that we think of for as, you know, saying 16-bit, 12-bit, 8-bit, 4-bit, and so forth and so on. Now, even though the bit depth is pretty evident here, you're going down from 8 to 4 bits. It's still not digitalized like we think it would be, and the tone is just basically kind of doing just kind of adding some type of noise, but they call it tone, so yeah, it's all right. And then the bit crushing will give you the overall sound of the bit crush and everything like that. So it's really kind of like crunchy type of sound, but it's still cool. It just depends on your sound source. We're working on a melodic loop, so maybe you're not gonna understand the sound, but maybe it will sound better on drums. I don't know. We'll find out here pretty soon. All right, so what we're gonna do now is combine the two, the drive and the bit crush together, and just to see how it sounds. Now we already got our smaller parameters right here for us, the asymmetry, energy, bit depth, and tone put together correctly. Now what we're gonna do is just adjust the bigger parameters for us, the overall drive and the overall bit crushing effect, and try to blend the two to see if we can get a good sound out of here. So let's go ahead and hit play and see what we got. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and bypass. Nice. All right, so that was right there, Amplify on a melodic loop. This plugin is not, you know, saying basically marketed or advertised as a plugin for melodic loops. It's primarily advertised for drums. So let's go ahead and hop over to Easy Drummer and check out Amplify on some drums. All right, so here we are in Easy Drummer right now. Basically what we got, we found the loop that's going to work real well with that melodic loop that we have. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and engage that melodic loop here, and we're gonna go ahead and charge up this MIDI pattern for the drums and see how it sounds together. All right, here we go and go. All right, so we got a groove going on with the drums. Now here is Amplify. All right, so we got Amplify right here. Now we're going to be able to enjoy the fruits of the labor of this particular plugin. We're going to use all three components on the plugin: the transient, the drive, and the bit crush. Okay, so we already talked about what the drive and the bit crush do. All we have to do is explain what transient section is. Basically, it's like a transient designer. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go ahead and turn up the transient effects section, or this particular parameter right here. And the attack is basically, as you go clockwise, you're going to add more attack. And then the tighten is just basically going to kind of like shorten up the release on the particular effect sound on the attack of the transient. Okay, so let's go ahead and play that again. Go ahead and get that drum groove going. And 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, cool deal. So what we're gonna do now is go ahead and charge up this transient, turn the plug-in on, and here we go. And all right, let's go ahead and add some attack. All right, cool deal. Now let's go ahead and play that Easy Drummer groove by itself. All right, so we got Amplify already playing. Now we're gonna adjust this tighten, and you're gonna see how the release of the drum one shots kind of tighten up a little bit and get shorter. See how short and tight the sound is? Now when we turn it counterclockwise, you hear it loosen back up. You hear the resonance on the tom. You hear how it tightens up on the resonance. Cool deal. All right, so that's basically it right there, you know what I'm saying, on the transient section, for us getting it tight, or, you know what I'm saying, letting it be loose naturally. So all you're gonna do is tighten it up or add more attack, and then add the overall effect to that or whatnot. All right, so let's go ahead and play that MIDI groove again, and then we're gonna start to introduce the drive section and the bit crushing section as well. So we're gonna go ahead and play that again. All right, so we got where we want to get at with the AMPlify plugin and the drums. So let's go ahead and start introducing some drive to this particular drum sound. All right, cool deal. So you can kind of see, basically when we added that drive section on the drums, it kind of, basically, added a little bit of dirtiness to it, but then take away the drive saturation, takes away from the attack. So kind of want to drive it back down just to control the attacks. Okay. But we are clipping like a mug right now. Bring it down just a little bit. All right, I like it right there. All right, and now I'm not exactly sure if you are aware, but we do have in and output gain that we can make adjustments to right now. So we're coming in a little hot, you know what I'm saying, on the input, so we can bring that down just a little bit so we don't clip that red, and also compensate on the output gain as well. But we should be good about right there. All right, and now we can turn up our output and our fader. Good right there. All right, cool deal. So we got the gain structure, and we're not clipping in the red on the particular, a little bit, but not bit. But let's go ahead and add some bit crushing to this particular drum loop, and see how the bit crush kind of combines with the transient section and the drive section as well. All right, here we go. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, cool deal. Let's play that with the melodic loop. All right, cool deal. So that's what that plugin is doing to the drums. The bit crushing, let's talk about that for just a few bit. The bit crushing did some weird stuff. If you put it on a certain bit depth, it's going to give you a certain bit tone or effect or whatnot. But what I noticed with the tone knob is how it's constant noise, and then at certain points of the parameter it'll catch on timing, and it'll give you kind of like a fuzz that kind of moves with the drum pattern or the drum groove or whatnot. But then your overall effect is the bit crush. So it's this bit crush section is kind of it's weird. There's no defined way of saying, okay, yep, this is 8-bit with the tone. The tone is almost like it's constant noise that you're adding, that's kind of play or adjusted like a release, almost kind of like an expansion or gate release, that it has to find that signal source with the drums in order to give you the separation between, you know, the constant effect of the noise and the release of the drums. It's really, really weird. And then your bit crushing, of course, you know, you drive that, you're gonna get some excessive amount of bit driving noise or whatnot. But nevertheless though, man, that's how it sounds with all 3 parameters in there. It definitely gives you this dirty lo-fi type of sound that you probably looking for in your productions. Now, I wouldn't use this on everything, maybe on kind of like a percussion loop or a specialized drum kit that has like a top kit without the kick drum, or the kick drum without the hi-hats or something like that, just really kick and snare. But however you use it, you know what I'm saying, I hope AMPlify kind of clears some things up, and for you to kind of go out there and try it out, man. So these are my favorite multi-effect plugins. This is part 1, AMPlify. Make sure you tune in for part 2. So what I need you to do is go ahead and hit a like on this video, number 1, and then number 2, subscribe to this channel right here so you can check out part 2 coming up to you guys here real soon. You have been in the Yo with your boy Super Mario, man. We up out of here, man. Stay tuned to part 2.